spendthrift and what his vision was?
Well, his vision clearly was, don't borrow money if you don't have to.
Can I get high five? All right, you heard the man, right? Don't borrow no money if you ain't got to. Go ahead.
Yeah. So he left an endowment in his death in 1915. There was an endowment of $1 million, over $1 million for the university. You know, they didn't know anything on real estate.
Back in that day.
Yeah, that day. They didn't have any debts on real estate. They didn't have any mortgages.
Yeah.
But the thing that some other leaders recognized, like Andrew Carnegie and others in the white community recognized, is that he had a vision. And they saw that he had some sound planning with his vision of being able to educate former slaves in order that they can be able to become self-sufficient scientists.
Yes, and we had these people, and they were building economics and education for our community. Where did we drop the ball?
Yeah, right. Well, see, there were competition between black leaders as to who's going to get the most press. So men like W.B. Du Bois, who had great skills, and he and Booker T. Washington were like in competition. You know? Yeah.
One of the things that people don't know is that Malcolm X and Martin Luther King worked together. You know, because one was more political and into the history, and one was more of a spiritual, and all of that was needed. Excuse me, Troy, you got to stand up for a second. I'm dropping my chapstick and everything. This is ridiculous, but I love y'all. But we had to understand that and my chapstick is rolling away. As we keeps it real over here at Focus Television. It's not like people who followed Malcolm X couldn't stand the people who followed Martin Luther King, because everybody understood at that time that it was one goal. And when these brothers sat down and they talked, they understood the one goal. So again, we've dropped the ball, even though we've been shown the truth. How do we get back on track?
Yeah, well, we have a gap right now. We got not only an educational gap, we always have an income gap.
Income gap, yeah.
Yeah, that exists right now. And I think what we have to recognize is that we have to find out what time it is for the culture and move with haste to really be able to close the gap up.
Do you think that Obama being president makes a difference?
Oh, I think that can bring inspiration, sure, to the whole community. That can bring inspiration. But what we should not forget is that those attainments that he has achieved are distinct. They can be inspirations for others. But we have to recognize the fact is that for the state of Georgia, last stat shows that only 49% of the black students graduated.
That is repulsive.
You know, so 51% did not even get a diploma. So the question and concern that we should have is, what's going to happen to that 51% that did not get a diploma? Are they going to hit the streets and hustle?
Right, that's a lot of kids.
And become the next generation in jail population?
Well, ironically enough, when I did a show in the past on education, and I did research, and I found out like a lot of young kids were coming to me and trying to, you know, get on the radio, trying to promote their products. And what I noticed is that hip hop is such a great thing that it has turned all of these little young people into entrepreneurs. And as I'm thinking that they're dropping out and they're wasted, not saying that there's not a disenfranchisement and there's not educational gap or an importance of education, but they're trying to take the shortcut. You know what I'm saying? And it's not altogether a bad thing. I think that every person going into college should have a business and use that to pay your way through college. You know, so, but I notice a lot of young people are they're becoming entrepreneurs. So if we're looking at the resources, he's saying that 49% of the children graduated, right? Yeah. And that means 51% of the kids didn't graduate. We know 51% of the kids all didn't start businesses.
No. And we find that they hit the street and they hustle in order to survive.
But so many times we're telling them, yo, that's so not the way.
I know.
And it seemed like it's still like there is a major disenfranchisement.
Yeah, but the best investment that one can make is in education.
Right.
Although it may not pay you at the time that you want to be paid.
Right.
So my encouragement is that for families that have kids at home, set it a policy you don't leave home until you have established yourself an enterprise that you can work from home.
Right.
So that when you leave home, if you find that you're not able to be employed, at least you have a backup.
Right. I think that every person that has a job need a business.
Yeah.
Jobs don't pay no more.
Sure.
You know things is hard when minimum wage is $7
Yeah.
and some change.
Yeah. But see, that's what's possible in, the land of opportunity.
Right.
You can be able to have your own part-time or full-time business that you work from right from home. So that means you got low overhead.
Right.
If you're going to be working from home, and if you're going to stay home until you're 18 or 20, at least you'll be able to get a job start. Right. So there's lots of work to be done.
Yeah.
Now, take nothing away from Obama and the achievement that's been made there, but what we have to keep in mind is that that is an achievement, yes, and it's taken generations to get there, but we still have a gap that
Yeah.
we got to deal with. So the question is to each of us who have a concern about the community, what are we going to do to make a difference in closing the gap up?
We challenge you. We challenge you. Mr. Earnest Hooks Jr. has just asked a question, and now we want to challenge you with that question. What are you going to do to make an impact on the future? Say the question again.
Well, what each of us are going to do to close the gap up that exists between the attainments of what Obama has and the dropout rates that we see here that are 51% that did not get their diploma in the state of Georgia.
Right. What are you going to do to close the gap? All right, I have like 5 more minutes left.
Okay.
So tell me, where can we contact you at?
Oh, okay. We have a website for Lizzie Wilkerson. It is www.Lizzie, Lizzie, Wilkerson, WILKERSON.com. And
this is a part of the Lizzie Wilkinson Foundation.
Right.
So you started the foundation?
Yes. I created the foundation. We're certified. And you can be able to go to the website and get further information if you like. The educator, Marva Collins, who actually started her own private school back in the 70s and turned out very star students in her school, she has endorsed the book.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So,
is it actually this size?
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Right. And you can also there's a link to the bookstore if you like to. You can be able to purchase it.
I really want to thank you so very much. It's people like you that are definitely an inspiration and allow us on the Focus Television to do what we do.
Right.
For you to be the reason why I had to make it a very important point that this woman was born in 1900s and she willed the artwork to him, and now he carried on her legacy. Yeah. What are you going to do to close the generational gap? What are you going to do to close the economic gap? What are you going to do to close the educational gap? Write us at thefocustv@gmail.com and tell us what you're going to do, and we may feature you here on the Focus Television. I want to thank you so very much, sir.
Sure. Thank you very much.
You are so blessed and handsome. Isn't he handsome, everybody?